Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Talking Silkworm podcast. Today we are talking frequently asked questions. I'm sure you have seen FAQ everywhere on websites, on documents, everywhere. And the good thing about this is it's that it is a very easy to access resource for any content creator and any podcaster and any educational platform. And it's going to give you plenty of ideas that are going to serve your audience. So we're going to be talking about that. So let's start here with why are they important? Why do frequently asked questions matter? So the first thing is because people are asking them. As simple as that. People are asking these questions. They need this information, and you can easily provide that to them, build a connection, build the trust. So very important. The question here is, are you listening to the questions you're being asked? Are you listening to that? How are you listening to that? How are you collecting these questions? Very important. Then they reveal pain points, they reveal friction points, they reveal challenges, they reveal needs. So all these frequently asked questions are also opportunities for you to see how you can help your audience best. Yes, what new service, what new product, what new strategy, what new type of content you can create for your audience. So it's also very useful for kind of like a content marketing research tool or like maybe market research tool. Very useful. So keep that in mind. The next point is, I already mentioned this, but answering these frequently asked questions, as simple as they might be, they help building trust. Meaning, if you tell the person information that helps them clear their minds or that helps them move forward, then they are going to start trusting you and your platform and your brand. The next important item why FAQs are important is you are going to be able to educate your audience. You're going to be able to tackle objections. You're going to be able to answer those questions that might deter buyers or students or clients from accessing your service. You're going to tackle that. You're going to answer that from the get-go. So that potential friction point goes away from the very beginning. And the other point here is they are, or usually most of the times, they are evergreen, meaning people are going to have those questions over and over and over and over again. Particularly people who are new to the type of industry maybe that you all provide services in. So if you create that content, you're going to have an asset for engaging with new audience members or new public every time. Yeah, this is evergreen. So it's very useful. It's very useful. And by responding to these questions, you're creating a content marketing asset and you're creating a business asset as well. Where can you find frequently asked questions? Well, the first is your own internal communications. What are the emails you're receiving? What are the DMs you're receiving on social media? Yeah. What are the questions people are asking you face to face? You have direct access to this information. I'm sure you have 2 or 3 right now in mind that you can create content on. So that's the first source. Another potential source is surveys, feedback surveys. If you happen to have a digital course or if you happen to run surveys, maybe to evaluate the quality of a customer interaction or something like that, that is going to help you with collecting this type of information as well. Another one is comments in your social media channels or community or Facebook groups or whatever other channel you use that is not necessarily internal. All those comments can be used as sources for FAQs, because you're going to notice, and I'm sure you have seen this, some of these comments or some of these questions on the comments are like they are recurring. Yeah, they happen over and over and over again. And sometimes you have to answer the same thing over and over again. But it's always useful to provide that answer for better engagement. Another source for this is maybe like search term search terms in your website or course platform, if you have a way to keep track of what people are looking for internally on your platform, or even externally, like you can go to Google's SEO tool and find what people are asking. Yeah, this is like for a broader, more general aspect of things. So you can leverage both the people you have direct access to, your online communities, and third-party tools. So like those are potentially three sources for you to source FAQs. Important, keep track of this. Document, keep a spreadsheet, keep a Notion board, keep something where you can keep track of this and potentially categorize the type of FAQs you receive. That's going to help. Oh my God, categorizing is going to make things so much easier, because the better the categorization is, the easier it is going to be to address the answers, to group things together, and to create new answers and new materials, and to answer potentially future questions based on the categories you have created. Now, the core of this episode: how do you turn these frequently asked questions into episodes? Because that's what you need to do. You need to provide an answer that you can use over and over again with your new acquaintances or new leads. The first is, you do not need to create all the content at once. If I am speaking about frequently asked questions, you don't have to answer them all at once. Pick the most common ones first, and the other ones, just like take your time, schedule some time in your daily workday to create new content around those. I think the key ones or the most common ones are going to be key, because like they're going to be the first point of contact. And the other ones, I'm sure some of them are going to be evergreen, but some of them are going to also change through time. But just don't burn yourself out trying to answer all of them. Pick 3 or 4 and create content for those 3 or 4. That'll be just fine. Then how do you deliver this message? How do you deliver it? The first is podcast episodes. Yes, create a podcast. That's what this whole show is for. Like, teach you how to leverage podcasts for building engagement with your audience and creating that community and that brand authority for your own brand. So the good thing about podcasts is they have higher retention than video. Video retention, you might know, is about like 3 to 5 minutes. Podcast retention is a bit longer than that. It's not like super long, because you know how people attention spans have been affected by social media, but retention tends to be higher on podcasting. People are going to listen to a podcast for a longer time than they will watch a video. And the good thing is, the longer they listen, the more engaged and the more attached they're going to be to your brand and to your content and to your message. It's going to be a more intimate format, because I was reading this somewhere, like, while video is something you put your full attention on, podcasting is a means that serves as company while you're doing something else. So like, you are there with that person on their daily lives, doing like their daily commute or whatever other activity they're doing. So you're part of their life. Like, you're not a distraction, or you're not something that stops them in their daily life. So that's why I recommend podcasting. You have more retention time to build better engagement and to expand in your message into more detail. Yeah, you're going to be able to provide more detail, more specifics, and then showcase your expertise and build that trust. The other option is blog posts. Pretty similar to podcasts. Yes, you are going to be able to build SEO. Yeah, you're going to be able to work on your SEO to attract more people, and you're going to be able to go more in depth onto the answers you want to cover. Of course, this depends on the complexity of each answer. Not all answers are the same. Some of them are going to be very simple and short. Some of them are going to need more knowledge or more information. So it depends. And then, of course, you have all the other options, creating videos for YouTube, or the one I will recommend the least, depending on your strategy, is social media channels, because they are ephemeral. Yes, social media is so ephemeral. So maybe you want to use Instagram, maybe have a section that highlights maybe a pinned post, something like that. Otherwise, it's gonna get lost in the noise and like all the other accounts and all the other content recommendation that algorithm is distracting the audience with. Another option here is webinars, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I am not an expert in webinars, but I think it's worth considering if that's one of your strengths, because usually a webinar is one of the points of entry of a person to a business offer. So that's where you should be tackling those, absolutely. And the good thing about webinars is that you can easily repurpose those into a podcast episode or into a YouTube video. Yeah. So try to create as much impact as possible with the least amount of work. Because as I was saying earlier, this content is evergreen. So it doesn't matter if you're going to be publishing it in audio version, in written version, or in visual version. It's going to serve the same purpose for a long period of time. Just a reminder of the benefits. First, build credibility and authority. People are going to know you know your thing. Yeah. They are going to trust you. So very important. Then you're going to increase organic reach and discoverability. Yeah. You're going to generate some brand exposure there and some like industry presence. Also, you are going to have more engagement and more connection across the channels that are the most useful or the most efficient for your brand. And you are going to save time. You're going to save time with a content pipeline. Why save time? Because you don't have to answer the same thing over and over again. You can tell the person, hey, I know you're going to have some questions. Here, I got this material for you. If you have any further questions, please reach out. Yeah. But then when they reach out, they're going to have a closer connection because that first connection has already been built through the content that you have created for your frequently asked questions. All right. Mistakes to avoid. Everybody makes mistakes. That's okay. We can always tackle them. So the first thing is just outright thinking the question is too basic, too silly, too obvious. Believe me, most of the time, there are no obvious answers to the questions the audience might be asking. We have this thing called the curse of knowledge, curse of knowledge, where people that have a level of expertise in a certain area can no longer identify with a student or with a person that has no background in that area. So they automatically and unconsciously assume everybody knows at least the core basics to that area of expertise. But it doesn't happen like that in real life. It doesn't happen like that. People sometimes have very little idea to no idea about your service or about your area of expertise or about a particular section of your area of expertise that might be what they need. So no matter how obvious the answers might seem, you gotta provide that information for your audience. Another common mistake could be giving like a generic answer. Gosh, and I know this one's tricky because there is like a zillion pieces of content out there that are gonna tell you the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. Publish on this time of the day, post more often, keep this cadency of 3 and you go to a different whatever, and you're gonna find the same tip there. So try to tailor the answers to be as specifically oriented to your audience as possible. I'm sure you have created an audience persona or a client persona, so make sure that the answers are not like broad stuff, but like very, very specific to the type of audience and to the type of industry you are addressing. Yeah, of course, some of these answers are gonna be like generic because people have like overall, people can have like general questions about how to access a platform, for example, and most platforms have like similar steps, just like add your login information, that kind of thing. But some other stuff is gonna be very specific to your specific platform or to your specific service or to your specific industry. So try to tailor the answer specifically to that scenario. Yeah. Audience and industry. Okay. Another common mistake. Like, why are you making this mistake? Not repurposing stuff, not repurposing content across platforms. Why? You do not have to do the same work multiple times. You can record once or create a piece of content once and then reuse it into different formats. This is why I recommend podcasts. And this is why I do podcasts actually. So what I do is I record the audio, I record the video, and then from that we can create vertical clips for social media, and we can create quotes for Instagram, and we can create a blog post for the website, and we can create a lot of things because it's a long piece of content that can be converted into smaller pieces of content, or sorry, or that can be reformatted into other types of content. Yes, we have like visual, can be turned into written, can be turned into audio, and can be turned into an infographic. So don't do the same thing over and over again, or don't get stressed because you have to cover multiple channels, multiple content channels. You can easily cover multiple content channels based on a core or a pillar piece of content. Usually, of course, this should be a long form piece of content. Yeah. A 60-second reel is not going to do. You're going to need more than that to derive additional content. Actions that you can take right now, right after you finish listening to this podcast episode. The first is create a list right now from the top of your mind. Write down that list. I'm sure you have a few ideas in mind. You have a few questions, recurring questions that people have. Write them down. Then you're going to go to your inbox or to the comments on your social media or to your DMs, and you're going to find a lot more. So you're going to start writing those. And after you have made the list, then like categorize them. Create a category. Once you have that list, it doesn't need to be too long. And the other thing is going to be dynamic. This list is going to be dynamic. It's going to change maybe after every 6 months or every quarter or every period of time, because both the audience changes, the audience can change, and also your offer can change or your platform can change. So be aware that this is not a one-time thing. You need to be refreshing, updating this at least once every 6 months. Okay, now the next action you're going to take is from the list, pick two. Pick two items. The most frequent ones, the most popular ones, or the two that you feel the most comfortable answering, and create pieces of content about them. Yeah. Whatever type of content is more convenient for your brand or you feel the most comfortable with. I always, as I mentioned, I recommend podcasts because they are like super versatile for repurposing. But create content no matter what format it is. Create the content, yeah, that answers those questions. Give it a time, give it a date, and schedule a session for creating those pieces of content. And of course, ask people questions. You can do that right now as well. What questions do you have about this or that? Yeah, go on social media, go on, I don't know what platforms do you use for communicating with your audience. Ask them questions, and their questions are going to give you also a lot of valuable information. And you're going to notice a lot of these questions are very similar or are even the same. So keep that in mind. All right. That is all for now. If you would like to know more about how you can leverage content for building your trust and building authority and building communities, yes, particularly how you can use podcasts for this, this is the show where you have to subscribe. Yeah, follow us right now. If you are not on social media, you will find us there as at Talking Silkworm. Also on Spotify if you haven't subscribed yet, or on Apple Podcasts if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you found this content helpful, please rate and review and share. Share, help spread the love, and pass it to someone that you know is going to benefit from this episode. That's everything for now. I'm going to go because the studio is really hot. Sunny day today. and looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Goodbye.